Welcome to Bitesize Edge. So we are into 2021. Scary thought, isn't it? And today I thought, well, we're in lockdown. Let's have a conversation with founder and director of Edge NLP, Pip Thomas, who actually is no longer Pip Thomas, Pip Lever.
Very good.
Yes. So, Pip, you have decided, along with probably a number of other people, as we enter January and the New Year's resolutions are up there, you've decided to set yourself some goals.
I have, yeah. I'm quite good at doing this. I'm quite good at kind of going, right, I want to achieve this year. And I used to go through a period where I would set myself a task to do something completely new every year. And that involved things like learning to do dry stone walling, random stuff. I know. But this time I've set myself a few goals, a few fitness goals and other goals. So if I think about my kind of top three goals, excuse me, my first one was I wanted to get myself a coach, a business coach. And this is something that I know I'd spoken to you about before, Jules, and it was kind of really important for me. I'm able to recognize when I am floundering, for want of a better phrase, and lacking clear focus and direction. And I kind of know where I want to be in 2 years' time, but I was really struggling with being able to get real clarity about how I was going to get there. And like all, successful people, everyone needs a coach in one way or another to kind of almost hold you accountable. So I've got myself a business coach, and that all starts next week with Ernest.
Fabulous.
That's not who I'm coaching with.
I was going to say, is it with Ernest or with Ernest?
No, not with Ernest, with a fabulous lady called Claire Carpenter, who qualified with Barefoot Coaching. She's an incredible lady who I know you know as well. So yeah, that should make for some interesting sessions. So I've done that one. I've also kind of set myself a goal of doing my level 1 wine tasting sommelier course.
Which starts tonight, apparently.
It starts tonight. Yes, I had to go and I got my box of wines, my tasting wines, and had to go and retrieve the Pinot Grigio and the Chardonnay, which are now in the fridge. They didn't need to go in the fridge, in all fairness, because it was so bloody cold in the garage.
So can I just ask you a question about that? Because I know also one of the goals that you've set yourself is dry January. Exceptions. Is that now going to be a third exception, a fourth exception, and a fifth exception? Being able to do your 3 Wednesday evenings of drinking wine, or are you going to be super good and only spit them out?
Well, I think. Well, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to teach us. Jules, I don't feel I can tie myself down to that really for fear of incrimination. But the other question, you see, I need to ask myself is, what do I do with what's left?
What do you do with what's left? Because I'm guessing they're probably fairly decent bottles of wine.
They are decent bottles of wine, and there will be, I suspect, at least half of each bottle left.
Only half of each bottle. So you're planning on consuming a bottle of wine in 2 hours this evening, are you?
We'll see. But in essence, yeah, there'll be wine left. So I don't know. And of course, I will be asking anyone who might be in the near vicinity if they want to benefit from my evening's learning.
Right, I see. Okay, I'll bear that in mind. Thank you.
No problem. And then my third goal is kind of a bit of a follow-on from last year. And actually, Jules, you are completely and totally to blame for this.
Okay.
So back in, was it 2018, you did the Edinburgh Marathon?
2019.
Really? Okay.
Yes, because
2019.
it was the year I hit 40 and I remember it well. It was definitely 2019.
Okay. And it was on the back of you doing that I went, do you know what? I am going to do a half marathon. And I did the Royal Parks half marathon that you had done previously.
Yes.
And then I went, oh, this is good. I mean, it hurt like hell. And then I thought I'm going to do it again. So I signed up to do Royal Parks last year. And I also signed up to do London Landmarks, both of which were impacted by COVID. So neither have happened. However, London Landmarks is rebooked for the 23rd of May 2021, and all intents and purposes will go ahead. So I have started this week my fitness goal of training for a half marathon.
And within that training for the half marathon, I know that you mentioned adding a bit more to that fitness goal of your first half marathon that you did in a particular time that you were kind of about. So this time round, you want to shave off some time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I want to shave off 30 minutes.
Woo!
Well, I don't mind. I can share my time. I can share my time. Then
I just can't remember what it was. And
I can very easily. People do ultra marathons in the time it took me to do. So it was just over 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay, so your plan is to get under 3 hours this time.
Actually, now I verbalise that, I think my plan is to get no more than 3 hours.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. And that's absolutely doable, because I was given some advice by someone not too far away from the other end of this mic around going, because you're in pens. For any of you listening who haven't done a half marathon or a marathon or haven't seen something like it, they put you in time pens away from the start line, with the fastest group being at the very beginning. And someone not too far away from the other end of this mic, of the other mic.
That would be me. Let's make that clear.
Yeah. Suggested for speed, because she was kind of, had enough of it by now, that I should go in the fast pen.
Well, so it's more a case of get going, just get going, because
needless to say,
a while, get going first.
Needless to say, so that I didn't look like a complete knobby no mates as we even just got over the start line, I went off with a bit of a sprint, and about 3-4k into it, kind of went, oh my gosh, that's the fastest I've ever run that before.
I was tracking you, and I was very impressed with your speed.
Yeah, how did it look when I got to about mile 9?
Yeah, you looked like you were struggling somewhat.
Struggling or stagnant?
It is struggling. I'll give you struggling, because it was stagnant as we went on.
It was, for true. So anyway, I want to shave 20 minutes off. So I've got my training program, and actually, Jules, again, it's one that you shared with me. We have other people you're doing this as well, and there are a couple of other people doing it. Ari Underwood, Callum Lever, and Lucy Cayley.
Yes.
I don't know how that. Just checking her surname.
Yeah.
For you and Lucy run quite regularly.
We do.
Although Lucy's never done a half marathon, Callum's never done one before, and Ari has never done one before. So I'm kind of putting myself with those guys when it comes to speed. But I'm quite excited about it. And I've been out twice this week. It hasn't been pretty. It certainly hasn't been fast. However, it has been done.
Yeah, and that's the key, isn't it? It's about starting. It's about building the habit. I think it's the motivation that gets you going, but it's the habit that keeps you going, and just building your running habits again, I guess.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. I think it's the creating a habit of behaviour. You're so right that I kind of go, okay, so Friday I'm out for a run, because that's my third day. So
yeah,
and next week the same kind of scenario. But the training program is a 16-week training program, and there is more than 16 weeks until the 23rd of May. So that, in my model of the world, gives me a time. That's where I'm going to re-embed being able to run long distances, which will enable me to reduce my time.
Brilliant.
But the other thing I've also decided to do alongside this, and we'll do tomorrow because it's Thursday, is on Tuesdays, Thursdays, I'm going to do yoga to keep my flexibility up. Which I also think will help me when I get stagnant at mile 9.
I think you might be right. I don't believe you will get stagnant at mile 9 this time round, because you're better prepared. You would have done a half marathon, so you always learn, don't you?
Yeah, totally.
So
what I also do a lot of around this though is I've got a vision board up on the wall, and when I'm doing my morning kind of motivation thing, and I'm going through my affirmations and things, because one of my affirmations is around health and fitness. And one of the sections on my vision board is around the London landmark. I focus on that as I'm repeating my affirmation to myself. So I'm constantly re-embedding it and being able to almost see it happening, not almost,
Brilliant.
but seeing it happen. And that's really key for me. It gives me that connection.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that completely. So can I just go back to something that you said there? You said that you are very good at setting yourself goals,
Yes.
and you come back to them on a regular basis.
Yes.
You adjust and you set more and different goals as you move through the year. The impact of last year, and I'm so glad we can call it last year, although we haven't really hit 2021 as we thought we would, but hey, we can only move forward. How did it impact your goals? How did 2020 impact those goals?
Well, as I said, the fitness ones, as in the goal I was aiming for, went out the window. Now, the interesting thing with that, though, of course, was both London Landmarks and Royal Parks did a virtual half marathon. So I took the physical cancellation and interpreted that in my model of world to go, I don't need to train for this anymore. That's interesting, isn't it? So that for me says something around actually, to run that level of distance, there was a requirement, a need for me to be doing it with others. So going out and doing it on my own wouldn't have motivated me.
That is interesting. And it's interesting as well because you say that you have to do it with others, but you won't run with me.
I don't want to embarrass you. I don't want to be faster than you.
Okay, all right.
No, I don't. I know because I've run with you before, and you're walking.
No, I kind of am still keeping my feet going.
Yeah, but you're walking, and sometimes backwards. So, but I've just thought about something else though, because although I didn't do that, but then I kind of did a little bit around the whole COVID. Only wear elasticated jeans because any other jeans would be telling you that you're clearly not exercising. and I got to September, and one of the things I absolutely loved doing, and interestingly I did it on my own, was I did the Cycle 300. So in September we did no drinking. I did Herbalife 21-day challenge, and I did cycle 300 miles.
Yeah.
And I was probably, not that it was my motivation, the slimmest and lightest I've been for a bloody long time. Probably not that surprising and not sustainable.
Yeah.
But I was able to do the cycling. Yeah, and I was able to do the cycling on my own without it being a problem. And I think that was because there was a really clear timeline to it. It was a month. So coming back to your question about how did COVID impact it, I think it took away the timeline. There was no obvious end. I had a call with someone today, and he was in, I can't remember what part of the world he was in, and he said they went into lockdown in November, their second lockdown in November, which they're still in. It's much lighter than ours. And I said, you know what, if this goes through to the end of March, which is what's being said, shy of about 6 weeks, we've been in lockdown all the time. In one way or varying degree to another. And I think that lack of certainty, or rather the introduction of uncertainty, enabled me to give myself an excuse.
It's interesting. I think you're absolutely right. And I think it's also the lack of motivation because there's so little going on. And not to be a complete negative Nelly, but that whole thing of what is there currently to be looking forward to when there's so much uncertainty. So I absolutely get that. And I'm a really keen runner and yoga, but that all went out the window in lockdown one for me as well. I think it's really challenging to find the motivation to get up and get out when there feels as though there's nothing, there's no reason behind it other than, obviously quite a massive one, which is mental wellness and being fit and healthy, which is so important.
Yeah, and the interesting thing again with that though is what you're basically describing there is that 90%, if not more, of that motivation has to be self-motivated.
Yeah.
As opposed to carrot and stick.
Yes.
I'm doing a half marathon on the 23rd of May. Shit, I better get my trainers on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got to be, well, I'm not doing anything really. So I'm doing this because I am self-motivated and driven. So maybe then it's about finding a different purpose, to do something. What else do you get other than the recognition that you have completed a half marathon? What else does running or yoga or whatever you set yourself as a goal, what else do you achieve from that personally or gain from that makes it viable and enough for you to be motivated to get out there?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good question, and one that maybe, is a good one to start with.
Yeah.
Thinking about what that is. And then, as I said earlier, that motivation to get you going, but it's the habit that keeps you going. It's like anything, isn't it? Just creating that pattern of behavior that serves us rather than the patterns of behavior that don't. And setting some goals, be it fitness, be it business, be it whatever, whatever goals you want to set yourself, but really having that and giving yourself your own timelines that can't be knocked by any of the pandemic, especially for fitness goals, because you can set that, can't you? Even if there isn't an actual, on the 23rd of May, if it doesn't happen, that's okay. There's still the 23rd of May as the aim. And then on the 23rd of May, come hell or high water, you get out there and you run 13.1 miles round your local area.
Absolutely. I think also what, in a small way, what you can do, and as I said already, there's a group of 5 of us who are running London Landmark. If you get yourself a buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've often spoken about an accountability buddy.
Yeah.
And you get someone who you're accountable to or hold you accountable. I think that's really powerful.
It's really powerful, and I think that's one of the things that I missed so drastically and dramatically when I was training for a marathon.
Yeah.
It was a very, very lonely place to be.
Yeah.
It started with a buddy, and then that buddy decided to step down. And then it was a very, very lonely training plan and a very, very lonely space.
Yeah,
you're right. I think, having that accountability is absolutely key.
I was grinning to myself there, thinking about the buddy could be someone as simple or something as simple as, and I'm thinking of you now, Jules, and it's said in a certain tone of voice, "Are you not running today then? Do you want me to leave the yoga mat out for you?" Which I absolutely know what you're really saying is you need to go out and run.
Go for a run and get yourself
overdue some yoga. That works.
Yes, indeed. Oh, well, Pip, thank you so much for talking.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
And thank you for sharing your goals. We will be looking out to see how you're going and maybe a little bit further into your training for the landmarks. I will check in and see how that training is going and see where your motivation is and see if you created some new habits.
Fabulous. Thank you very much.
Enjoy your wine tasting.
Oh, I will.
And we will speak to you soon.
See you later.
Bye.